details of resolution for bond issue of a building project. Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Well, let's see. Was it Monday night?
Yeah, Monday night.
Yeah. Monday night, the building committee had another meeting from a week ago when we were at a special meeting here, and in the meantime, Dean and Buffy had brought Plan E to that special meeting on Friday, and since then, the staff they've looked at it, and now you should have Plan E1 in front of you. And this plan is a plan that has been, the rooms have been moved around a little bit, some things have been changed, and this was the plan that the building committee talked about on Monday night. And so we met, we had a discussion about the building, the remodel, those things, and really what happened in the end is that the building committee came to a consensus that this was the plan that we need to move forward with. It's not probably the perfect plan, it's not the Cadillac plan, but we're not looking for that. So there have been a lot of compromises made on a lot of different parties, the staff, the school board, community members. We've all had input on it, and we feel that this is the plan to move forward with. It does, again, it includes a complete new middle school, high school building, a new commons, kitchen, and administrative office area. It includes a complete remodel of the elementary school and a remodel of the current kitchen and bathrooms that are in the cafeteria. The kitchen will be turned into a concession stand, and the bathrooms will be remodeled and updated. That's all included in the price that you see in front of you, which, as you can see, is not the $7.8 million that we've been talking about. It's about 8.9 or almost $9 million. But this is a plan that I feel when it's done and it's complete, we can walk into it and we can make it work. And it will work for our kids, and it'll be a nice facility. There are some things yet that have to be worked out, a lot of details, and what I mean by that is there's some logistical things that, to be quite honest with you, the part that you have in front of you is the easy part, and I told the committee this. The hard part's going to be the logistics. How are we going to coordinate lunches? How are we going to, where are we going to move kids to when the new middle school, high school building is going to be built? So there's a lot of things that we have to still work through and work out, but of course that'll be worked through with the staff and getting a lot of heads together and coming up with ideas. But there are some things that have to be figured out still. But overall, the plan that you have in front of you, the consensus was, and again, it may not be 100%, but the consensus was when we left Monday that this plan is very feasible and will work to serve the needs of our kids. And so then we kind of started having discussions about the levies and how much those would be, and whether or not we should go with a 20-year, a 25-year, or a 30-year. And of course that makes all those levy estimates fluctuate. And again, the higher number of years you go, just like anything, the more interest you're going to pay. And usually when you do the bond issue, the interest rates are higher the longer you go. And so at that meeting, we wanted to have a discussion today to try to decide how many years we would go with the bond issue. And Jerry will talk a little bit about possibly the amount of money that we would be asking the public for in order to complete this plan. And there are a lot of people that were doing some pencil and paper putting at that meeting to see how much it was going to cost per acre and things like that. So after all that was done, we left the meeting again with a consensus that this is the plan, and this is basically the dollar amount that we're going to move forward with. And so I'll turn it back over to Jerry, and then I know that there's some building committee members that are out in the audience, and Dean's here, so hopefully we can get some questions answered. So
what we need to do here is figure out, get the board to figure out how many year bond we're going with, I guess, so we can know how to write the resolution up for a vote on it. 20-year bond, I think the numbers you gave me was the mill levy would be 65 cents. 25-year bond, the mill levy would be 56 cents, and the 30-year would be 50 cents. But there was quite a difference in interest paid over the entire project. The 20-year was 3.6 million in interest, and 25 was 4.65, and the 30-year was 5.68. Yeah, to sell it, I guess they want to know what's going to cost. To get the farmers on board, they're going to want to know what's going to cost me per acre. Of course, they got to do some figuring on their own. Every quarter of land is valued differently. Just looking at mine, I brought my assessment in. My highest one, if we go with the 25-year payment and figure the levy at 85% of true and full, one of my highest scores would be about $1.03 an acre for 25 years on that highest one. So I guess I'm thinking right now, I know Gettysburg went with a 25-year plan of repayment, and I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's kind of the middle of the road. We'd be giving up, paying some more interest, but we're getting the payments down lower. I think it's got a better chance of passing. Any thoughts from anybody else?
I guess just looking the difference in interest obviously is something that opens your eyes quite wide, but in the realm of the economy and everything right now, I guess my question would be, what do we think we can get our taxpayers on board with? And especially our farmers. I mean, the tax burden, what do we want to put on them for these years, and how long do we want to spread it out? Because right now, cash flow for a lot, when you go to the bank, that's a pretty important thing. So do you, what can we sell better, I guess? I don't know the answer to that. My initial thought would be the longer the better, but.
There was some discussion with the committee. There was a committee member felt that he wanted to short us because he didn't want to pay that extra. It's 3.6 to 5.6 extra. That's $2 million there extra on the project, and didn't want to do that. So there's two ranges there. So that's why I was promoting the middle range. Maybe it's common ground, and hopefully everybody can find that acceptable.
I myself just look at dollars per acre. So if you go longer, it would be less, but then you're paying all that interest too. So.
Well, this is
for yours, what you
on my
figured.
example. It'd be it's going to be about $1.03 an acre is what I have figured.
Did you do the 85%
Yeah.
of your values?
Yep. Just that night we were figuring full true, and that come up to $1.21. 85% of that's down. Any thoughts, Ryan?
I'd like to see it middle of the road would be all right, I think. I think 20 years would be too short. Traditionally, but I think 25 would be acceptable.
It's gonna be cheaper, because I kind of feel the same
You
way, I
have more
guess.
people like us over time paying for it, as well as you look at your farms and
I'm
your
hearing
kids.
the 25.
Well, and I think too, I mean, if cash flow is what's been talked about, obviously the longer you go, you're able to have more cash up on the front end. And if that's gonna be an issue, I think a 25-year bond issue, I think is acceptable. I look at that 30-year and the amount of interest that you would spend, it's crazy. But I think in order to be, a little bit sensitive to the economy and the farmers that are gonna be the ones that, this is gonna be put on, going 25, I think would help. It would lower the amount per acre, and I think it would have a better chance, when we go out to sell it, the smaller the numbers, I think the better it's gonna be.
Is this something that Toby, a conversation with him, or?
We had one with him, and obviously it was the interest. He said just when you figure out the 20-year versus a 30 especially, there's a huge jump. He wasn't totally opposed to the 25. I didn't think, Lisa, was he?
No, not to the 25.
But I think
He
the
was
30,
opposed to
he
the
was
30.
really opposed to the 30, just in the amount of the interest alone. So, I mean, I think 25, I think would be reasonable. Interest rate goes up a little bit. Obviously, our annual payment on our end at the school would be a little bit less as well, but,
And we don't know what the interest rate's gonna be yet.
So is it
Is
gonna be
that set when the bond passes, or when is that set?
It's-
yes and no.
Yes and no, as soon as you close out, Toby went through this with us yesterday on the phone, and they sell these bonds in, is it $5,000?
$5,000 increments.
Well, if you buy a lot of them, your interest rate's lower, or many years, is that kind of what you got out of it? If you
Yeah.
don't buy so many, so everyone's different, but our interest rate will be set at that point, and that's kind of why this sheet that he gave us is a little confusing for everyone, because these are sold.
So it'll be a set interest rate.
Ours
Ours
will
will
be
not.
set, but when they go out to sell them out on in the public, that rate will change. And if you look at the comparative debt service analysis that's on board docs, you'll see a par amount, and then you'll see a premium amount. That premium amount is when people buy more and get a better rate. It won't impact us, but it impacts them when they buy and sell. But our rate will be the same and nothing will fluctuate. The only thing that'll fluctuate for us is if the land valuation changes and things like that. But for the most part, Toby said to plan for a 4% interest rate, but hope for a 3.5. And it could be anywhere in between, and it could hit everywhere in between.
Our payments are the same, let's say our valuation goes down, the levy's gonna go up to make sure the payment's the payment, so.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
So the mill levy could change on us, but whatever, just so everybody understands, we're change with the valuation, but to get our payment, the payments is what's constant. So, I'm hearing 25 years from the majority here, so I guess, do we have a vote on that, or?
Yeah, we probably should.
Okay, I need a motion and a second to go with the 25-year payment plan on the bond issue.
Do you set the dollar amount to now, or, I mean, just to get that resolution ready?
We need a
For the
dollar
next
amount too,
meeting.
probably.
We should put the dollar amount in.
And we're going with this one. For $8,973,500. Is that what we wanted to do?
To 9. That's what they're talking about, to 9.
Okay,
I think we should.
Make it mine.
okay. So I need a motion and a second for a 25-year repayment plan on a bond for $9 million.
Motion. I'll second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
So then we'll come back then with the actual resolution, with all the wording that'll have to actually get passed. This was just to give us the wording for the resolution. Do you want to the building committee members are here, do you want to have a comment on anything, or if they
I
want
guess,
to?
Timeline.
Just an offer.
We had the discussion of timeline when the vote should be. If we do it, I think it should be before Christmas, get that week before Christmas, and we'll have to have a special meeting to vote on the resolution. I know when they passed the jail, that was in December, and I think for the best, the earlier the better for bids, right, Dean? The earlier the better for bids. So I would like, whenever we can get together as soon as possible for a special meeting to vote on this, and we can.
Was that what was that
And
date?
just so the board and the community and everybody out here knows, if we are gonna have an election on December 18th, which we asked, even if you have to have an election on Tuesday, and the state kind of said, yeah, they typically like to have one too, for whatever reason. We would have to have a special meeting anywhere between November 4th and November 9th to vote on the resolution, in order to get the first notice of voter registration to the paper. And then that sets off a series of events, then with the second notice and the voter deadline and the first notice of the election, and then that would be the election on the 18th of December.
Is that the one you have?
Yeah.
Right there?
So do we still feel it's best to do this before the opt-out?
Yeah, we had that discussion too, and I think I didn't hear any opposition to it. We were asked, we'll do this vote, whatever the outcome, wait a couple months, do the opt-out vote. If it fails, we still have time to maybe to do another revote, maybe do some changes, figure something out. So you got till January until July on the opt-out vote, right?
So when you say wait for the opt-out, what is,
Wait, after, like, if we do a December vote here, we were talking February vote for the opt-out, wait a month or two. And we discussed that in the committee, and I think everybody was on board with that.
wasn't it kind of stated before, Lisa, that the sooner the better on that? Like January is when we would want to do that, or that's not what we're?
Normally, yeah, we do have until July, so.
But that's, that's quite, I mean, that's a lot of time if we have to do a revote. If you have to make some changes, we can do a revote. So that's what I'd be in favor of.
So how about
And
this?
you know, maybe if this vote fails on the 18th, maybe then you look at considering the
We could.
opt-out in January?
Well, I don't know.
Before the next bond vote is ready?
I
don't
would
know.
have to have, I don't know, I think a February vote, I still think we have plenty of time. I don't know, I guess I would still like to see a February vote on that, I guess, just to have a little time between the two votes.
And I think too, Jerry, just the opt-out vote is a very critical vote for our district. And I know, I understand the conversation on the timing of it. But I think once we have the vote for the building and figure out where we're at with that, then we can kind of focus our attention to the opt-out. If the building vote passes, in my mind, I would find it hard to believe that the public would, if it goes to a vote, would vote the opt-out down. I mean, those are our operating dollars that we need to sustain what we're currently doing. If for whatever reason, you know, we need to, we'll need time too to organize. We have a lot of work to do, you guys. I mean, we have to have a committee meeting or a community meeting on the building first. And then I'm guessing that if it goes to a vote, the opt-out, we're probably gonna wanna have some public meetings with that too, to educate the community on what we're using those dollars for and how critical they are to our everyday operation. So hopefully we can convince them to vote for the opt-out. Either way, whether the building passes or not, we're gonna probably wanna do that anyway. So that would just give us more time. We're getting really crunched to get a lot of things in a very small amount of time.
Yeah, and if the building project fails, I don't think that's anything. I would hope the opt-out would still go. I mean, that's what we're running on now. It's not, we're not asking for any more. I mean, I would just, I think putting a little distance in between the two elections would give, like Scott's saying here, some time to get organized. And I don't think February would be too late on the first opt-out. So that's my feeling on it anyway. Brian, BJ, any thoughts?
If you vote and it fails, how long do you have to wait before you vote on it again? I mean, you have to have a certain amount of days,
Well, we passed the resolution first.
What are we talking about, the
Yeah.
bond or
The
the
opt-out.
opt-out?
Yeah.
The resolution would be passed at a meeting. Once it's published, then the public would have 20 days to refer it if they they don't, it
But the board
passes.
could just put it out in the election though too, right?
They could.
I think I'm in favor of that. I've been, I don't know, I don't think we should be scared of have the public input, but I have a number of people express that they want to vote on it. So I don't think we should be scared of let the people come vote. I think it'll turn out well. If we make them go through a petition process, I don't know, that might make it worse. I think we should just be upfront and let them vote on it. That's
But is
my
it a
thought.
sign of being scared or a sign of being confident in knowing that we're doing the right thing with our taxpayers' dollars?
I just, I got faith in the voters. I think they'll come and whatever they decide, we gotta live with. I mean, we're gonna, I have faith in them and
So otherwise, us as a board, we could vote on it in January then, or were you thinking?
I was thinking February, if we do the, building vote in December, do the vote in February. Give us
But if the school board, if they wanted to vote on it, and then do the petition,
Yeah.
then we would vote on it in February if the board wanted to go that route.
Well, we would vote on it, let's say
But then I
at the
guess that's gonna
February
push,
meeting.
but then that'll push the election even farther. If we vote on it in February,
Yeah,
if they sign the petition,
yeah,
then you're looking
I
at
think the,
probably a March.
yeah.
Because I'm sure the same 45-day,
And then if it fails in March, then you're getting crunch time for your second vote.
And I think that from the beginning, that was Lisa's deal with wanting it in January, correct? Is that whole process?
Well, we got until July, so you got February, March, April, May, June. I mean, I think we got plenty of time there, yeah.
If we have the vote or whatever in February, and it does get referred to a vote, or we put it to a vote in February, whichever it is. Well, if it gets referred to a vote, I don't know why you wouldn't do it at the same time as the school board election in April to avoid another election, but then, yeah, you are crunched for time.
Because if we know, because that's the only thing, yeah, like Jerry getting at, I mean, it's gonna go to a public vote regardless. And I can see what Kelly's saying, that, I mean, as a school board, yeah, it's showing confidence, but, I mean, like I said, I haven't talked to a lot of people, I know 2 individuals that are gonna do a petition to do it, so. So I think regardless, it's gonna happen, so. Like I said, if we do the petition, we'll just stall it out and.
it will, and I think if you talk to Toby, I mean, I think he would say, you know, the board has the authority just to renew it, and the community has the right to take a petition out. I mean, I don't know if he would ever say to go ahead and go right away with the public vote, but that, I mean, that's your decision as a board, you can do that. I mean, it's gonna go probably anyway, and hopefully the public trusts that we are using that money wisely, and we'll continue to do that, but I mean, again, that's totally a board decision that you guys have to make, but, you know, I don't know when the time
Vote on is February, and then I guess you have to stirs the pot, or they gotta get a petition, I guess, that's, I don't know, I guess.
Well, I guess I still would like to have I think the thing to do is still have a building vote in the week before, in December, if we got any, for the best possible, for the bid process to get the best results, I think we need to keep moving forward. So I'd like to have a vote on a resolution relatively quickly, whenever a meeting date works for you guys.
we gotta do it between the 4th and the 9th. If we do it after that, then we miss the deadline, then we're not gonna be able to do it until January, so it's pretty critical that we get a date.
So if we do go ahead and do this, is there any thought of bringing the construction manager in?
I was just
and
asking
willing to
that
do
question, when we would do that.
We also had that discussion at the committee meeting, and we thought before the vote, we could interview them, and then if it passes, then we can hire them right away and get them on board. If it fails, then we maybe save a little upfront money. You know, there's no point having them if the vote fails. So that's kind of what's
Is there-
discussed.
Is there any advantage, Dean, I mean, if we're gonna vote in December, is there any advantage to having a construction manager? I mean, we can certainly put out, it's gonna take 2 weeks, we gotta bid it out for 2 weeks, then we have to interview. So, I mean, we are really crunched for time still, even in this scenario. But I mean, are there any pluses of trying to hire one now as soon as we can? Is it better for us to wait? What's your
I
opinion?
like the thought of at least interviewing one, that you have them on board, because then you know and you tell the public that you're gonna have a construction manager with a, guaranteed maximum. But it's gonna be hard for them in this amount of time to get a number that they're going to go with. I mean, I look at what and one of the things that was brought up is where's our commitment, and we're gonna stick with that number. We're kinda done with what we agreed to with our original proposal of 25, and we were saying, and we talked about that 10,000 to take this to the bond, which would include doing brochures, developing the elevation so we all know what this building looks like, presentation boards, floor plan, refine the floor plans a little bit more with Gary. I had to pick on Gary because we did change things and caused a little bit of a issue with our building committee, which is true. We probably should have had a meeting, I'm just bringing up things from the committee, should have had a meeting probably prior to that Friday morning meeting. Farmers get up earlier than I do, it would've been hard to be here at 6:30, but that's probably true. But from that, we decided that, we have a plan in E1. We didn't make any changes for today. So we would refine that a little bit more with the building committee for the presentation. We need to get, site development, like I said, presentation boards, and meetings, public meetings, whatever it's set up, to have a construction manager at that same time. I mean, other than interviewing them, in which we put together the RFP for that and for the board. But like Jerry's saying, I mean, you're gonna commit, in that amount of time, they're not even gonna get going. I mean, when we were doing a $2 million project in Redfield, and it took them, a month and a half to really agree on the cost of the building. We wouldn't have enough time to do that, but to have them on board, have the public know that that's what you're going to do, there's going to be a guaranteed maximum, and maybe who that is would be a plus. Okay.
You are working that Redfield, is that with that Kybers?
Kybers Carlson, and they did that's law enforcement center, and they did the jail here in town, so.
Right, and are they part of Hoban's deal too?
Yes, they were part of it.
So,
That would be certainly one of them. There's at least five that contact us on this project, because they're watching it, There's some Gray Construction, Huff Construction, and then there's some west, including Journey, interested, so. I don't think we have less than 4 or 5 proposals.